From the RC track to the backyard basher, we're kind of doing a little bit of everything here on the channel. So let's take a look at the Arma Big Rock 3S and why I decided to buy it in 2024. So I'm Chad, this is the Dorky and 40 RC channel. Let's work on the Arma Big Rock today. So what we're doing is just kind of some basic things. I have the Granite Grom to play with the dog with, but it's just a little too small and a little too slow. He gets it. He loves to carry it around, sling it around, throw it. Kind of takes the fun out of it for me, but also for him because it's not much of a challenge. So I wanted a vehicle that was obviously bigger, faster, and that is not going to hurt the dog or break the budget. So I decided to go with the Big Rock 3S. I really like the way it looked. It seems like it was the perfect size, and I'll play a little video clip here of Coda in all of his glory, muddy and everything else. Now, safety is first. I didn't want to get anything ultra powerful and big. I had an X-Max before. That would have been way too much. And quite honestly, I am surprised at how powerful this thing is on 3S, running Spectrum 5000 3S battery on it. Got their smart charger, plug it in, it all works just great. So if you're ever thinking about diving into this ecosystem, like, you just can't go wrong. It's super awesome. So the desk is just big enough to work on everything here. And what I've done already before I started doing this is I did upgrade the servo with a more powerful servo. Of course, it's hidden down in here. And I upgraded the servo horn and went with a Kimbrough 25 tooth servo saver. A lot of the videos that you'll see on the Big Rock are a little bit older, but a lot of the stuff still holds true. So I wanted to do that. Now, one thing I'm going to do in this video is go ahead and change out the motor mount to the hot racing, which is a little bit thicker and seems to work out better than the bigger one from Arma. You know, you can choose to go that route if you want to, but we're going with the hot racing mount. I'm also going to change out the hubs. The metal that is made out of the Arma ones is kind of cheap. So I'm going to try out these Traxxas hexes here that are steel. No big deal. And then just kind of clean everything up. The big thing that I did get, because it's all about performance, right? I don't really care how fast it goes, but I want it to maneuver and be stable and everything else. And as far as like the platform with the width, the shocks and everything else, everything is pretty stable. But I definitely wanted to upgrade the shocks. So I dumped the money on the Proline set. They have a different part number, 635900 for the fronts, 635901 for the rear. And we're going to do those all in about 50 weight fluid and see where that gets us. Typically would do something a little bit less in the front, but there's actually a lot of weight up front here with the electronics and everything else, servo, all that kind of stuff. So I think we'll get good balance of all this stuff. I know some people talk about these shocks like bending and breaking and stuff. So I figured I would just go ahead and get rid of it. Not really worry about going to like a Creighton shock or anything like that, because I could always use these pretty much on any big vehicle in the future. And there's like no negative reviews I can find on them besides the price. But let's face it, a lot of people get these bashers and they just start buying all these crazy metal parts and upgrading them and all that stuff, bigger motors and all that. And we're really not going to go there. We're just trying to make it more stable, fun, and durable all at the same time. So you can see that we've already got things tore apart to go ahead and change out the motor mount. Also going to work on the spur, make sure that is set properly and everything. And while we're in here, just kind of clean everything out, do a little bit of the Velcro that Razor RC says to do underneath here, so that way we don't pick up as much debris inside of the motor mount. And again, just kind of get it all ready to go, because it's going to be like 50 and sunny tomorrow, and that boy is going to need worked out. So let's get to it. So we've just secured the motor mount here with a couple of the motor screws for now, and we'll go ahead and work on the slipper. And it seems like pretty much what everybody says is to go ahead and back this thing out, make sure that there is some thread locker on there. I think mine was set pretty well. It felt pretty well. I'm pretty sure all this will come apart now that we have done that. So the screw keeps on coming. Definitely a long screw that goes through that entire assembly. And I think I've seen some people actually set their slipper pads a little bit differently as well. So no thread locker on there. We're just going to take a little bit of our gel thread locker here and we'll go ahead and just apply that. No grease or anything. We're not going to oil any of this stuff. It's all really new. And the slipper pads you can see have been working fairly well. No big problems there. And then all this is just going to screw back in together and everything is going to reseat properly when we do that. And then what they say to do is tighten this thing all the way down, and then you want to do about 1.5 turns out. So you can see we've got the MIP driver here and it's got markings on it. So that is all the way in. So what we're going to do is we're going to spin that around once and then we're going to go about another half, which is to right there. So that should mean that our slipper clutch is set properly. And now we can basically just piece all this right back together. Everything just kind of slips in here and goes back over the motor mount and pretty easy. So the slipper assembly fits right back into there, and then this comes out this way, and there is a bearing right there that should seat right into the motor mount, which it is. It's a little tight, not gonna lie. And we can see how that all goes in there. Real simple. Gear mesh is set really good. You just kind of want that to rock back and forth there. Have a little bit of space in between for the pinion, and then we can stick the motor cover back over top here and screw that back on. Of course, if you get lost, you can always jump and check these explodable parts views that Arrma has on their website, so you can be sure the way that everything goes together. And pretty simple. The only thing I forgot that time was there is this extra motor plate black spacer that goes in there that is secured to the motor guard with an actual screw, and we are spinning very well. This is going to be the receiver that's going to slide into there. And then of course we've got like this black spacer and this part that will go into the drive shaft here, that we got to make sure that we get. That stuff kind of falls out all over the place. But before I put this back in, I think what I want to do is the old Velcro trick here that people do, where they take Velcro and just kind of put it like right here to kind of keep stuff from getting in there, I guess. So I'm going to see if I can find some hook and loop around this place. I can't find it. No big deal. So now we're just going to go ahead and stuff this baby back in there. And really, you just line everything up. It just is all going to go into these slots here and literally just slide and lock right into place. I mean, doesn't get any easier than that. So then we're going to put our black spacer on there. We're going to put our spreader inside of there as well, or drive input, whatever you want to call it. And then we have our red block that we need to slide underneath here and re-secure. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we put our Velcro strap through, so that way we can re-secure our vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and slide that through, so that way we can hook the battery back up easily. And literally that just slides underneath of all of this. And seen people kind of have to force this a little bit. And once you get your motor up against here tightly and it all clicks into place, that will slide in there real easy. And then it will grab the screw from earlier and flip this baby upside down and go ahead and re-secure that red mounting block, which is going to keep everything even more secure. So now we have a fully upgraded. Of course, do not forget to reinstall your drive shaft and you can see that we have everything working. So that's going to do it for this part of this video, guys. Come back to the next video on the Big Rock here, where we're going to do those shocks and we'll take this baby outside. Talk to you guys later. Peace.